Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal with NVIDIA Daily Analysis. NVIDIA showed some volatility today as per my expectations. In this video, we'll discuss how NVIDIA can behave next 2 days before earnings using correlation with historical data. Also, we'll discuss latest news and economic data that can impact NVIDIA stock price movement. Now, let's get started. Starting with the daily summary, Nvidia opened at 129.57. It made a high 131.26. It made a low 124.37 and it closed at 126.46. That is 2.25% down. As you notice, after opening, Nvidia tried to go further up but did not have enough momentum. But after that, Nvidia showed a negative momentum and continued to go down. But it did try to do some recovery in the afternoon, but not much. So, this kind of volatility is not a surprise before earnings, as I mentioned you last week, and I also showed you previous quarter historical data before earnings. Let's take a look one more time. In this table, you see the adjusted closing price in this column for each day. Now, let's take a look what happened in the previous quarter before the earnings. So, Nvidia reported the earnings on May 22nd. So, from May 22nd, few days prior to that, you see the volatility. So, 94.35, and then Nvidia went down 92.47, then went up, and then went down the last day before the earnings. Now let's take a look what happened 1 quarter prior to that. Nvidia released the earning on February 21, and you can notice few days prior to that some volatility starting from here. February 13, you see 72.12, it went up. Next day, then went down, went down on the last day before earnings as well. So in this quarter, so few days prior to the latest earning, Nvidia showing the same behavior. Let me show you. So today is August 26th. A few days before that, you see starting from August 20, Nvidia was 127. It went up the next day, then went down the following day, and after that went up, and today went down. Okay, see the volatility, ups and down, ups and down. So next 2 days, I'm guessing overall Nvidia has some potential to go further up. So this tells that the correlation between historical data and the latest data is still valid. Regarding my position, I did not sell my Nvidia stocks yet. I bought Nvidia around 120 and 126. At this point, I'm in profit, but I'm still watching the situation very closely. And currently, I do not have any plan to sell Nvidia before earnings, unless something happens that I cannot predict. Now, let's take a look forward P for Nvidia. Nvidia forward P at this point is at 44.19, slightly lower than the last week closing. Palantir 90.74, lower than the last week closing. SMCI 17.70 versus 19.30, way lower than the last week closing. So SMCI did not have a very good day today. It went down about 8%. At this point, I'm stuck on SMCI stock. Probably I should not have bought SMCI stock. I'm not feeling good on SMCI. AMD at this point 41.89 versus last week 43.28. So AMD also went down today. Regarding the range of Nvidia before the earnings, as I showed you last week and before, I was expecting Nvidia to move between 114.5 and 140. So at this point, Nvidia is still moving between these two values. And next 2 days, Nvidia has some room to go further up. As per the historical data, I'm gonna show you. Let's take a look. I'm showing you cumulative percentage change for Nvidia for this quarter. At this point, Nvidia is 33.6% up from the prior earnings report. So as per the historical data of the last quarter, Nvidia was up about 38% from the earnings date. That was 22nd February. So 38.1% versus this quarter 33.6% is still some room for Nvidia to go up. I'm guessing Nvidia to close between 130 and 132 before the earnings. We still have 2 more days to go. Now let's take a look technical charts for Nvidia. You see 90-day hourly interval chart for Nvidia on your screen and also the MACD chart. As we noted on Friday that the momentum was weak on Nvidia, so I was not expecting a big movement today. So today Nvidia went down and still you see that the blue line or the MACD line is below zero line. So that tells the momentum is still weak on Nvidia. So that suggests that tomorrow also we can see some volatility on Nvidia. There is a possibility that Nvidia may close positive tomorrow. Now let's take a look Bollinger Bands. You see Bollinger Bands on your screen, the upper band, the lower band, and also the Nvidia stock line. Let me make it a little bigger. So at this point, you see that the gap between upper band and the lower band started expanding from this afternoon. So after Nvidia stopped touching the lower band, you see Nvidia did not go further down, and that's a good sign. And that tells that maybe we can see some recovery on Nvidia tomorrow in the morning, most probably. And also the slope between upper band and the lower band, you see almost flat, unlike here where we see the slope was positive. So since the slope is flat, that also suggests that not enough momentum on Nvidia at this point. Now let's take a look Fibonacci levels. You see Fibonacci levels on your screen, starting from the lowest point, that is 75.96, and the highest point 140.56. As we noted last week, 125 was a support level for Nvidia. So at this point, Nvidia is moving around 126, but looks like somewhere around here some consolidation is happening, and that is around 130. Let's take a look what's happening there. Let me redraw Fibonacci levels based on the shorter term horizon. That will expose the short term behavior on Nvidia. Now I have redrawn Fibonacci levels selecting a different lowest point, and that is in the short term I selected 93.66, and that is this point. I ignored the medium term outlook. So in the shorter term, you see that around 129 and 130, some resistance level based on the 23% retracement of Fibonacci. So that's why you see that around 130, Nvidia is getting some resistance. It was not able to break it in last 2-3 attempts. But it does not mean that Nvidia won't be able to break in next few days. Now let's take a look some news regarding Nvidia. Starting with the top one that says Nvidia stock drops as earnings loom. What Wall Street is focusing on in the results. Let's take a look. So this says that Nvidia's quarterly earnings and revenue are expected to more than double from a year ago. So that's okay, that makes sense, not a surprise to me. And then it says that several publications have reported potential delays in the production and the shipment of Nvidia's new Blackwell chip. And this suggests that the delays should be relatively short lived, likely due to a design flaw rather than manufacturing issues. So that's a good thing. In their opinion, this production delays are not a big thing for Nvidia at this point, not going to impact much. And also, this says that we suspect Nvidia cloud AI will continue to be strong for the next 4 quarters based on the ongoing demand. So that's a good thing, right? And kind of in line with my expectation, I also think that the sales and the demand outlook for Nvidia and other AI stocks are strong. Only thing concerning for me is the earnings. So I'm not expecting earnings in this quarter as high as in the previous quarters. Now let's take a look. This one that says Dow Jones briefly sets record highs, tech drops, chip makers stumble as oil prices spike on geopolitical risk. So as we noted recently, we have seen the tension between those two parties in the Middle East has gone up. I was expecting some kind of agreement to be finalized anytime soon, but it did not happen. And the fight again started. So that's not a good thing for overall market and the economy, and also most importantly for tech stocks, because tech stocks are the one that get more impact due to geopolitical crisis. Now let's take a look. This one that says Taiwan Semiconductor ramps up overseas investment with $1.95 billion. So that's a good thing. That suggests the growth in the semiconductor still continue to be strong. And now we got another price target increase, and that is from Loop Capital that says buy on Nvidia and maintains $175 price target. Looks to me it's too high. I'm not expecting Nvidia to reach 175 before the next earning or before the elections. So now this one about Mr. Powell. Mr. Powell said time has come for rate cuts. So as we noted last week, Mr. Powell's speech was positive, and the rate cut timeline market is expecting now from September. The only unknown variable at this point is how much rate cut would happen on September, whether 25 basis point or 50 basis point. If they do 50 basis point, that will be a positive surprise to the market, and we see market surge after that. But if they do 25 basis point, probably that may not be a surprise to the market because market already adjusted with the expectation of 25 basis point at this point. I guess that's all about news regarding Nvidia. Let's take a look other AI stocks. So as you see on your screen in my watch list, almost all the stocks are negative today with the exception of Apple. The highest negative is on SMCI, that is 8.27% down. Nvidia kind of lie in the middle, and that's a good thing. Now let's take a look economic calendar for this week. So as we noted on Friday last week, nothing much was due today. So Monday was quiet, nothing much happening. Tuesday as well. Wednesday also quiet. And Thursday we have weekly initial jobless claims, and that is important. And Friday we have a big day, that is PC index, and that's very important. So Friday we might see the inflation going up or going down. But the good thing is, before the earnings, no major data is coming. So earnings is in focus at this point for Nvidia and overall tech stocks. So I guess that's all about Nvidia analysis and assessment for today and rest of the week before earnings. I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you more tomorrow. Take care.